to call this meeting to order. Stand up and do the pledge. Don, you want to lead us?
Sure.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Don. I'll entertain a motion to approve the reading and approval of minutes from last meeting. Second?
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only. No? Okay. All right. Reports 24-5011. This is our CS McKee second quarter performance report. Here to speak on that and discuss is the president of CS McKee, Mark Gensheimer. Mark, how are you? How was the trip?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good to see you. I felt like we were just here.
I know.
I know.
Amazing how fast
I know. It's incredible. Faster and faster.
Well, good to see everybody. I did bring a copy of our weekly economic report. You might find it very boring, but and I'm not going to walk you through that. I'll give you the highlights just with some comments. But this is really what our team uses every week to manage the markets, and they actually do it. They used to do it monthly, and they've been doing it weekly for about the last probably 3 years because things change so fast. And I brought an update from, since we're pretty far into the quarter, but at the end of Q2, the county hit another milestone of just over 211 million for the plan. And I looked at, as the end of day Friday, you were at 216 million, so another 5 million. And you're actually up from there because the market's been up a couple days. So it's amazing how the market just continues to chug along, despite, as we talked about last quarter, more volatility. I think it was like maybe 4 Mondays ago, we had the biggest drop in the market in this year. But within 2 days, it had recovered everything. And then 2 weeks ago, we had the worst week that we've had of the whole year. But it's gained it all back. There's a lot of reasons for the volatility. Some of it's the wars that are going around the world. A lot of it is the election. And the primary question that keeps driving the markets today is what's the Fed going to do and when are they going to do it? Well, we know when they're going to do it. It's today. The meeting's this afternoon. And we're pretty sure that there's like a 99% chance that they'll cut interest rates, probably by 25 basis points. Some of our guys, they were having a discussion on Monday, and some of them think they're going to cut at 50 basis points. The Fed keeps an eye on a bunch of things, but primarily it's two things: it's unemployment and inflation. And the most recent inflation is down to 2.5%, which it's not quite to where they'd like it to be at about 2%, but it's a heck of a lot better than where we were last year at this time at 9%. And then the second thing is jobs. And the job increases were about 206,000 last month, which was more than they expected, but it was less than May. Unemployment has risen to 4.5%. But if you look at the employment of prime-aged workers, which I'm not one anymore, 25 to 54, it's 83.7%, which is the highest that it's been in 22 years. So, that's kind of the core employment numbers. And inflation, as I said before, it fell by 0.1%, but the annual inflation rate as of last week is at 2.5, which really is it's pretty good. And the market is priced in a 100% chance of a cut today. So we'll see. I think they'll probably do it at 25 basis points, but I think they'll have several after that if the markets continue to do well. And the market's really going to like that. It's flat today. It's mixed. NASDAQ is up a little bit. The Dow is down a little bit, and the S&P is about flat. But as far as your portfolio, the last quarter was kind of a mixed bag. Large cap stocks did well. Small caps and international, not so well. Short duration bonds did really well. Long bonds didn't do so well. As we discussed last quarter, the performance of the S&P 500 has been dominated by the Magnificent Seven. It's Google, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla. And just those 7 stocks account for $4.2 trillion of the $6.2 trillion in the S&P. I mean, that's a huge number. It's 31%, I think. Yeah, it's a big number, really big number. And we do own most of them. We own a little bit of NVIDIA. You know, NVIDIA has been up 600% in the last 18 months, but it was down 21% in the last several weeks. So that's why we try not to be overweight. And when some of those earnings get way out of whack, we just don't think it makes sense. You know, we're managing this portfolio and all of our clients' portfolios over a 30-year period, not 30 months. So, you know, your domestic equity portfolio lagged just a little bit for the quarter, but for the 1-year period, the domestic equity is up 23.5%. It doesn't seem like the market's been that strong, because, you know, you just read the news all the time, but almost 23.5% for the last 12 months. And with interest rates starting to fall, you know, we're pretty positive on, you know, things moving forward. Our largest holdings, some of the tech names that we own, like Microsoft, Alphabet, and Apple, did really, really well. The only holding that we have in the portfolio that's over 2% that underperformed was Marathon Oil. But that was last quarter. They're doing better this quarter. So large cap stocks did really well. Small cap stocks underperformed a little bit, primarily because interest rates are higher. As interest rates come down, small caps should do better. International overseas stocks finished relatively flat, up about 1% for the quarter. So our economy is just so much stronger than Europe and Asia and Australia, which has been reflected in the markets. And as our economy continues to be stronger, you'll see our stocks perform better, and they should continue to do that for a while. On the fixed income side, you know, there's a slight uptick in interest rates for last quarter, but that has changed since then. So the portfolio was pretty flat for the quarter, but for the last year, again, you know, it's up almost 4%, which is great for a, you know, very, very conservative government agency mortgage-backed portfolio. And with interest rates coming down, bonds should do really well for quite a while. So that's going to be really good ballast for you. You know, again, I talked about rates coming down. You know, all in all, as the end of the second quarter, you know, we're slightly behind the index, but ahead for 1, 3, and 5 years. With the election coming, you know, we do expect increased volatility, not just in the markets, but in life. You know, we all can't wait till it's over with. You know, borrowing will become cheaper as interest rates come down. So it's really going to be good for the consumer, for housing, for cars, and those are the things. You know, the consumer makes up 70% of you know, the economy. So as interest rates come down, it should bode well. As I mentioned before, inflation is down to about 2.5%. You know, the bottom line is we're just going to continue to own companies in the portfolio that you know, that have, you know, really strong management, really strong earnings. You know, we may miss some of the high flyers from time to time, but over time, we just really believe, and we've been doing this for, you know, 40-some years, that, you know, portfolios made up of really well-run companies over a long time period are just going to continue to outperform. So we think the asset allocation is really good. You know, your large cap is at about 45.5%. Small cap at 5%, international at 11%, and fixed income at about 37.5%. So we're really surprised to be this optimistic this far through the year. At the beginning of the year, if you asked us, we wouldn't have expected the market to perform this well. On the other hand, we'll take it. You know, it's good for pension funds, it's good for our IRAs, it's good for, you know, everything. So yeah, so we continue to be positive, and but there's going to be more volatility. I think we're going to see more of those days and weeks being up and down, and partly is because the market's performed well. Anytime the markets perform well, there's always reasons to look for it to turn south a little bit.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Any questions for Mark?
Question that comes up to me occasionally on recipients of their pension payments, asking about when they would ever see a increase. Obviously, with costs the way they are right now, that's even more important, but it's been a long time since they've seen an increase.
We can't increase it until we meet, what we're about 80%.
Right, no, I know that, but, I mean,
We're at 70-something now, so we're lower than that.
What are we at now, Reggie? 66?
Well, that was the preliminary draft that they sent to Dave.
Right, okay.
I know we're looking to increase our yearly payments there, so,
Yeah, that'll be a,
That'll bring it up.
Huge help,
Once we
yeah.
get up to about 80, we can look at that again.
yeah.
that plus the market helping get you up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anyone else? Reggie, you don't have any questions? You usually have a lot of questions. No?
he's got all the answers.
That's why he's got all the, okay, there it is. There it is. All right, thanks again, Mark. Always good to see you. Thank you, yeah. Okay, opportunity for the public to address the board? No? Pat, you? All right, members, other business? Okay, all right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second, any questions? All those in favor? Aye? Aye. Aye, opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.